Good morning, everyone. Another day to learn something new. We enjoy the beauty of our environment and we can do a lot of things because of our eyes. How do you think our eyes work? What are the parts do we have in our eyes to make us see? Are you ready to learn those? So, join me in discovering those parts and their functions. To start with, let's have our trivia. Did you know that the human eye can distinguish 10 million different colors? Yes, the eyes can do that. That is because of the parts inside our eyes. Our eyes need rest after using for a long period of time. So now, let's give our eyes some rest. It's time for us to relax for a moment. Close your eyes for a few seconds and take a deep breath. We will do this for 10 seconds. After a while, slowly open your eyes. In that simple way, you can relax your eyes after a long period of time using it. Now, upon doing that activity, what can you see? You're right, you can see darkness. Why do you think you cannot see the things around you? You cannot see the things around you because you close your eyes. But another reason is that there is no light that enters to your eyes. The light plays a big role for us to see. As young like you, always give light to others so they will realize how beautiful the world is. Did you get me? Great! Let's have our objectives. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify the different parts of the eyes and their functions, and describe how parts of the eye work together to provide vision. The human eye has different parts. Each part has its own function to help us see. The eyes are protected by the eyebrows, eyelids, and eyelashes. Each part has its own function to protect the eyes. Let's have the function of the eyebrows. The eyebrows prevent water or sweat from entering the eyes. The next one is the eyelid. Why do people have the eyelid? The eyelid keeps the eyes clean and moist by blinking. It also protects the eyes from insects, dust, or too much light. Eyelids work together with the eyelashes to protect the eyes. Eyelashes are the hairs that grow at the edge of the eyelid. They protect the eyes from dust or dirt. So again, we have the eyebrows, eyelashes, and eyelids. Those parts protect the eyes. Moving on, the other parts of the eyes is the white part, and that part is what we call sclera. It covers all of the eyeball except the cornea. It also protects the internal organs of the eyes. Our eyes need light for us to see. The light that we see enters the cornea, which is a transparent material that covers the front of the eyes. It is where the light enters. It is like a glass window through which can light pass. The next part of the eye can be found at the back of the cornea. It is said to be the colored part of the eye. It may be brown, black, gray, or blue. And it is what we call the iris. The iris controls the amount of light entering the eyes. The next one is the black opening at the center of the iris. It is called pupil. The iris and the pupil work together to control the amount of light entering the eyes. The pupil gets bigger or smaller depending on the amount of light around us. When the surrounding is dark, the pupil gets bigger to let more light enter the eyes. While when the surrounding is bright, the pupil gets smaller, allowing less light to enter the eyes. From the pupil, light passes through the lens. The lens can be found at the back of the pupil. It changes its shape in order to focus the light rays directly at the retina. The muscle of the lens becomes thicker and thinner depending on the distance of the objects. Lens becomes thicker to focus the near objects. If the object is far, the lens becomes thinner to focus the far objects. The next part is the retina. Retina is found at the back of the eyeball. It has light-sensitive cells. These cells process the light that enters the eyes to identify the objects that we see. These cells are called rods and cones. Rods are responsible for night vision. Since rods are sensitive to low or less light, we may be able to see at night. Cones are responsible for color vision. They function best in relatively bright light, as opposed to rod cells that work better in a dim light. The images that we see are made up of light reflected from the objects that we look at. Since the front part of the eye is curved, it bends the light. That's why an upside-down image is being formed in the retina. The retina also converts light rays to electrical signals. Those signals that are being converted by the retina will pass in the optic nerve. The optic nerve sends the image to the brain, and the brain interprets what the eyes are seeing. Upon knowing the parts and the functions of the eyes, the question is, how do the eyes work? How do we see? Just like what I've mentioned in my previous activity, the eyes need light in order us to see. You cannot see the objects if there is no light. When you look at something, the light rays reflected from the object and enter to your eyes. Those light rays enter through the cornea. The amount of light is controlled by the iris and the pupil. From the pupil, the light rays pass through the lens which focuses the image of the objects on the retina. The image of the object in the retina is inverted or in the upside down position. As the image is formed, the optic nerve sends the message to the brain. And lastly, the brain interprets and corrects the inverted image into an upright position. And so, that's it. That's how we can see the things around us. That is how the eyes work. So, to check your understanding, identify the parts of the eye being shown in the picture. First, what part is that? We have the sclera. How about the next one? That is iris. How about the third one? That is pupil. The fourth one, we have the cornea. How about the fifth one? Right, that is retina. How about the sixth one? We have lens. And lastly, that is the optic nerve. For your book exercises, answer quick quiz letter A, numbers 1 to 6, and letter B, numbers 1 to 5 on page 59. You don't need to send your answer We will check this next meeting. That's all for now. Thank you and God bless us all.